Frank had mentioned that he's going to be moving to go to San Diego to be with family. And it's like, how do we slot this in? Where do we slot this in? And in an opportunity for Thanksgiving, I thought would be perfect. And so here we are. I said, Frank, do you want to do this live or do you want to do this by Zoom? He says, I want to do this live. So here he is, live and in person. Frank, I'm going to have you come right over here in the hot seat. Now, you may have noticed we are the camera club, not the microphone club. So there has been challenges technologically. We've gotten the in-person part right, but you poor folks on Zoom, you may or may not work. So you're going to have to let us know in the chat how we're doing, and we will do our best. And you were able to get on. The electricity came on. Good for you. So glad. We will just move forward. We were going to move on and move forward. Okay, some of you may have known Frank for a long time. Some of you may think that you've known Frank for a long time. So I've got some Frank trivia here that we are going to go through and see how you do. So just keep score in your mind. When or who was the president of the United States when Frank was born? George Washington is not on the list. What do we have here? Franklin D. Roosevelt, Calvin Coolidge, or Harry S. Truman? Oh, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Could it be easy as Frank and Franklin? I don't know.
In fact, I was named for him. My middle initial D, though, doesn't come from Delano. It comes from Dr. Dale, who did the D.
Frank shot his first commercial photography assignment when he was how old? Who we have? 10, 13, or 16? I hear a 13, but I also hear a 16, and I hear a 10. And survey said 13 was correct. Frank, tell us about this first commercial photography assignment.
I shot my first commercial job with a 4x5 speed graphic and flash bulbs. The camera belonged to my dad, who was a baby photographer, and didn't get it all correct. But it was only a bar mitzvah, so the family was understanding about the few images that didn't turn out. Most of them.
A bar mitzvah for your first job. 13.
$1 per print.
$1 per print. 8 by 10.
That's big money.
Oh yeah, big money rolling in the dough.
In fact, I was still Confederate dollars.
Okay, Frank served in the Navy for 30 years, retiring at the rank of commander. From what I understand, which is what you wrote for me, 7 enlisted promotions, 4 warrant officer grades, and 4 commissioned officer ranks. Thank you for your service, Frank. But what was Frank's nickname? Was it Frankie Baby? Was it Senor Sure Shot? Was it Mr. F Stop? F is for Frank. Or none of the above? Frank, did you have a nickname? Okay, any that we're allowed to share in this mixed company here. Okay. Going once. One of the founding members. 1991. 1987.
went so well that I joined. And when that happened, I was 46 or 47 years old. I turned 82 in a couple of days. So about half of my life.
Yeah, yeah. So you joined before you moved. Frank has taught many classes starting to pioneer with RCC. What is one class that he has not taught? Exploring digital photography. Creating steadier, sharper images. Up close and amazing, mastering macro. Drops, flashes, and crashes. Fun with JPEGs. Survey says, oh, fun with JPEGs. Now, what is it with you and JPEGs, Frank?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I met a JPEG once and I didn't like it.
There you go. So you recommend shooting in RAW,
Yes.
and why would that be?
You never know when the picture you're taking right now is going to turn out to be the most important image you ever make in your lifetime. Make it count.
You heard it here. Hey, Frank is known as a gracious and interesting conversationalist. What topics does he try to avoid? Questions from new photographers. I mean, f-stops, explaining f-stops again? Would it be Nikon versus Canon versus Sony versus Fuji versus you name it? Would it be favorite landscape locations or and answering what kind of camera took that picture? We've got two here on the board for you. What do you think? What kind of camera? For sure, for sure. And that Nikon debate forever and ever, and they drone on, and the guy just won't give up.
Camera is a tool. It's only as good as the user. And they're all better than we are. Ansel Adams said to have commented once that the worst camera is better than the best photographer, or words to that effect. So it ain't about the camera. Adams also said the most important part of a camera is the 8 inches behind one. And that's this part right here. So it's cameras, we need them, but don't get obsessive with them.
So I shouldn't bring up the debate where my Canon is better than your, no, never mind. Okay, Frankisms, which is something that Frank has not said. When photographing little people, small animals, bring your camera down to their level. Don't shoot over them. Don't become so engrossed in your viewfinder that you don't hear the grizzly bear approaching from your 6. Real photographers frame everything in camera. Or friends don't let friends use cheap filters on their expensive lenses. So which one of these did Frank not say? Real photographers frame everything in camera? I think they invented the crop tool for a reason, didn't they, Frank? That's right.
It's important to get in tight, but it's important not to get in too tight. And one of the cases where that's particularly important is if you're doing focus stacking or panoramics, or how about a focus stack panoramic? When you're doing that, software is going to take some of the edges away from you. So don't crop too tight, but don't crop too lazy.
Good advice. According to Frank, what is the single piece of gear that has the most potential for improving your photographs? Would it be the latest and greatest mirrorless camera body? Would it be a solid tripod? Would it be your camera's instruction manual? Or would it be a bubble level? Tripod it is. Frank?
And a close second to that is manual, yes. As I fade off into the sunset, I take some pride and pleasure in knowing that somewhere out there, there may be one or two photographers who've taken it seriously on tripods, who have learned how important a really good tripod is. That doesn't necessarily mean most expensive tripod, but the one that's best for you and your needs, and who uses it regularly. I will be a happy to realize that's happened, at least a couple. Very good. Okay, it's a nice decoration.
I remember, Frank, we went up to Big Bear to shoot the Milky Way. And off to the side, there's the Pied Piper of tripods gathering a group, telling them the benefits of wonderful tripods and how you never use that little, you never pull it up on the top because it's a little wiggly. And I learned more in that little batch of tripods than I had watching hours and hours of YouTube.
Did you up your tripod game after that?
No, but I never moved by that thing. Still waiting to make that investment. Still waiting to make that investment. Your biggest investment in photography should be comfortable camera bag, ball heads, lots of them. The best lenses possible, a portable cleaning kit. The best lenses. Oh, you do know this, man. Right?
I used to think cameras were the most important thing, but that was when a particular manufacturer might release a new model once every 4 or 5 years. Nowadays, they're all introducing new cameras every week. So I've come to realize that investing in the best lenses that you can, and as camera bodies come and go, you can trade up, but you'll still be using those same lenses. Lately, there have been some lens refinements that have made that less true. Things like really good image stabilization, things like digital sensors becoming so high resolution that the lenses have to be aimed better, take advantage. So it's not as true as it once was that you could buy a good lens and never expect to have to replace it. But it's still true that the lenses are where you made to invest. So, camera body, yeah,
up your lens game. Christmas is coming. One of the things we're going to be talking about at our holiday hoo-ha is going to bring your camera Christmas list. We're going to share who's getting what, or at least what Santa Claus might bring. Frank recommends you carry these items in your camera bag, everything except spare batteries, remote release with intervalometer, lens hood for each lens, white balance reference card, Hershey's chocolate bar, whistle. Now you got to know Frank here. Which one of these did he say didn't include in his must-have list? Whistle. I think you bring the chocolate bar, but don't put it in your camera bag. Tell me about the whistle, Frank.
If you've ever been out and been captivated by happy sunset, but the others with you have not been as captivated, look around and find out that you're all by yourself. It is absolutely amazing how everything out there looks the same after dark. I see some the flashlights in the but it's just a good idea to carry it. So that
there you go, safety tip. Whistles, that's the kind the coaches use, you know, nice and really loud. And for bears.
That's and a hugging. Yeah, enjoy the chocolate bar.
Okay, true or false? And I don't even know the answer to this one. But both, I didn't really, I was looking on, I was familiar with this picture and then saw back in the archives that you had done this picture. Both self-portraits taken a period of time. Were these cameras or were these photos taken as a reflection in the mirror? Were they taken with the same camera? I couldn't tell here either. I wasn't able to tell. Were they taken with the same camera?
They are not self-portraits.
They're not self-portraits. Okay.
They're made by Bill Thomas, who for decades was Riverside's premier portrait photographer, still a good photographer and a great guy. And I'm proud to say that those Bill Thomas portraits. And yes, they were made with the same camera.
And with the same camera.
I have no idea what that camera was, and I couldn't care less.
That's right.
Yes,
yeah,
they are.
But they look good, and they've done you well.
Thank you. Yes.
All right.
That was
Well,
the idea. Yeah.
That
Not easy, but the idea.
That ends our trivia portion. So let's give a round of applause there. We have a couple of video greetings, people who weren't able to make it in, who were able to video themselves in. Let's see if I can make this go.
Frank, I understand that you're leaving us. While I'm sad, I'm happy that you will be spending more time with family and those sunny climes, those temperate temperatures down there in San Diego. I want to thank you for your many years of support and service to the Redlands Camera Club. But more importantly, I want to thank you for your 40 years of mentorship and, more importantly, your friendship all these years. Thank you, my friend. Farewell. Excuse me, farewell. And following seas, shipmate.
Thank you, shipmate. And I detect that there may be a little vocal challenge going on there. I hope you're soon feeling better.
Yes, yes.
And I would like to add something about Rick. You have most often encountered Rick as a judge for our competitions. But if you go back enough years, he was the staff photographer of the Redlands Daily Facts, back when there really was a Redlands Daily Facts and they really had a staff photographer. But before Rick was the staff photographer of the Daily Facts, he was a Navy photographer. And he was selected when he worked for me to go to the Navy's prestigious one-year program in photojournalism at Syracuse University. And he became a photojournalist. And he got so good that he left the Navy and broke my heart. But what a pleasure it was to retire, come to Redlands, and discover that Rick was here in Redlands as the Daily Facts staff photographer. Now, he went on from there to become a photo editor. And at one time, he was editing the photographers of 5 different newspapers. And he retired as the photo editor of the San Bernardino Sun and the papers that he had bought in the meantime. Rick left the Navy, but he wanted to continue to serve. So while he was working as a photo editor, he joined the Air Force Reserve. And he retired from the Air Force Reserve as a Master Chief. And he's an outstanding individual, and I really hope to get his voice back. So, thank you, sir.
Mr. Frank Peele. Look at all these people that are here for you. This is amazing. I wish I could be there, but alas, I am probably in Colorado doing a photographic adventure and some other things. So I wish I could be there, but I know that you understand. You know, for many of you, a little tip about Frank. Like, if he's, I don't know where he is in the room, but if he's not up front on the microphone, check at the back at the snack table. He's probably back there grabbing a cookie or something. Mr. Frank, I have so much respect for you, and I thank you so much for all of your mentoring. There was a time at IEPPV where, through circumstances, I was to be president for the second year, and that was also the year that you had said that you were going to retire. And because the second year was something that I was not expecting, and yet I needed to take on that position, you agreed to support me in that second year, and I never forgot that. I thought, what a gentlemanly thing to do, what an honorable thing to do, and just as a good friend, I've never forgotten that, and I've always appreciated that. I thank you for your enthusiasm that you have always poured into the affiliates, not just photography, not just as a personal friend, but, Redlands Camera Club and IEPBV. We may not have always seen eye to eye, but it was always a gentlemanly discussion, and it was always very enlightening for me. So, my friend, have the most amazing years ahead of you, and I hope to see you very soon.
Greetings from the Pacific Northwest. Hi, Frank. I'm so honored and grateful to be able to wish you a fond farewell.
And thank you so much. And here's another tip for you. I can shower with mine. Or you're in the Pacific Northwest, one or the other. And it's been very gratifying to me to see people who come into the club with a certain level of experience and skill, and who very quickly add to their skill and experience and the qualities you have done, and you get credit for that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And, thank you for starting, being a foundation to the club. And I just appreciate the encouragement. I think I said that on the video, but I didn't hear a word that I said. So I'll repeat myself. Thank you so much for all the encouragement you've given me over the years.
Thanks to you and Larry both, Ann.
That's terrific. Now, this is the opportunity where we have the open mic opportunity. Now, your presence says enough. Just being here says enough. But let's be frank. No, I mean, not frank.
Easy for me
But
to say.
if everybody took 3 minutes, we'd be here all night. So if you want to grab the mic, we'll just run it down, run it around. If you have something that you'd like to say to Frank, we can do that. So if you were planning on staying still, now's your opportunity. So if you'd like to, come on up. Now, you got to say who you are and how long you've known Frank.
I'm Heidi Wilson, and I've known Frank for 4 months. So I think I'm his newest friend. But I appreciate the very first meeting I came to was in the summer on Zoom, and you guys were doing the presentation of the photographer, the competition, and everyone was all like, "Well, who are you?" and wanted to meet who I was. And Frank was so nice and asked me a really good question, and that was, "What are you doing?" Because I said I take pictures on my phone, but I'm learning my camera. They said, "What do you take picture? Are you happy with the pictures that you take on your phone? In other words, do you need to learn more about your camera?" And I stopped for a second. I said, "Yeah, but there's things I can do with the camera I know that I can't do yet, but I would like to learn." And you're very, very encouraging. And I always remember that because it's a really good question to make you think about, like, what tools, like you said, a phone is a camera. Like, it's with you behind it, but I wanted to do more with it. So it really made me think. And then you've been encouraging throughout. And it's nice to have some new friends on Facebook as well, because that's the reason I joined Facebook and Instagram, to have to show my photos. And so it's fun to watch you guys, some of you on Facebook, but also to see your comments also. So I just came tonight because I really wanted to meet you live.
Yes.
So there you go.
Heidi and I just met for the first time tonight, although we have been looking at each other on Zoom.
Yeah. So very good. Thank you so much.
And the lifeblood of this organization is new members with the kind of enthusiasm that Heidi brings to the club. It's just so great when Heidi shows up.
Oh, there you go. Watch your step there.
Frank, I first met you in 2003 when I joined Redlands Camera Club. I made one mistake.
What was that?
I gave Bessie, my wife, late wife, a little Canon point and shoot. And she proceeded to, actually her first attempt at taking a picture, and she actually got ribbons and proceeded to take your class. And I regretted bringing her into Redlands Camera Club because, having taken your class, She rose to even getting best of shows here at Redlands Camera. And I have never been able to do that. So thank you for helping Bessie outdo me.
Jerry, thank you. And let me add a comment. It's delightful to see that you've moved back to California, and we hope that you'll be a regular attendee at the club. Jerry is a past president, and he's one of 4 honorary life members of the club. That's an honor that's not granted very often, but he's got it.
You just have to have a lot of BS and you get recognized.
Well, I don't remember exactly which year it was that I joined the club, but I took your class, your beginning class, right before I joined the club. And I took that long enough ago that we were working with film. So that was some time ago.
Not last place.
But film, we were actually doing film at that point. And you and others helped me, drag me kicking and screaming into digital photography. And I was never looked back, always loved it. And I learned certain things from you. And one of the things you said in digital photography was, just because you can doesn't mean you should. But I have to admit that of all the people I know, the photography that I do probably breaks your rule more often than not. But it's what I'm really loving to do in photography right now. So thank you, Frank, for letting me break the rules.
Judith, thank you. I remember Judith coming into the club as having a tremendous artistic capability and not knowing so much about the technical aspects of photography, and frankly not caring so much about it either. And that's fine. Her work speaks for itself. One of her images that I particularly remember, she took a glass paperweight and turned it into just a stunning piece of art. I remember that, and I admire your work so much. You've been a real asset.
Stephanie, go ahead. Have a seat, but you can.
Okay, I'm a little more formal. I don't remember everything. So no, I wrote it down. So let me read this. Frank, what words can be used to accurately describe this person who has been such an integral part of the Redlands Camera Club? I decided the best way to choose what I should say about him would be to use 3 words. Within mere seconds, I realized that this was a feat that was going to accomplish. So 3 words aren't enough to describe you, Frank, but I did finally settle on 3 words. And these are the words that stuck to my heart the most. The first word is commanding. And when one thinks about commanding, Frank is the ideal specimen. Confident, demure, an uncanny ability to make people feel comfortable, important, and welcome. He's a teacher at heart with a willingness to help and an encouraging nature. Although his critiques can be harsh, he does it with such grace that those critiques have made me want to improve my photography skills rather than feeling like I failed. Second word is humble. There have been board meetings where not everybody agrees, not even with Frank, but the demeanor I spoke of earlier shines right through. He shows respect, has a listening ear, and does not insist on having it his way. He's open to listening to everyone's opinion, with all the options, and in the end, we make a decision that's true. The last one in the line of those attributes stands out the most, and that's being a leader. And this is what I'm going to end my little faithful gratitude to you, friends. Because you see people's talents and encourage them to push their boundaries and step outside the comfort zone. He has the ability to help us unlock our potential, and that allows us to become better photographers and overall better people. This is what we used to do, and this is what Frank is. And above all, Frank is a man of God, and that is the most important.
Steph is the perfect example of dedicated members working behind the scenes in what could be seen as a less glamorous job. But she has put her heart and soul into being the membership chair for a long time, a very long. And we've all been Steph, and Steph is very kind of us.
I'm Dorothy Cunningham, and I've known Frank for a while. What was it, 2005? But I just wanted to say thank you. You helped me. I was thinking of joy, a joy, just enjoy. But you gave me some tools to use. You helped me a lot. You were a good teacher.
Dorothy, thank you so much. Coming from a great teacher, I appreciate it.
Now, Dorothy, if I remember correctly, you had sent me an email. Brought lady? Yes, apparently, Frank, you introduced Dorothy to beer brats.
I'm so glad.
Well, I think we all appreciate Frank's knowledge. You know, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Wayne Purcell. I've been in the club for 8 or 10 years. Enjoyed knowing you. Right from the start, I took all of your classes and feel very privileged to have received that education. Thank you very, very, very much. And I remember you talking about how you took the microfiber rag out of the plastic envelope and just snapped it, you know, the little fibers would fly off. Just a lot of things that you said during that. But one of the things you said was that friends don't let friends use JPEG. And I had just recently come off JPEG. So but I also have appreciated your character. The words that come to my mind are that you are a consummate gentleman. You have a way with words and kindness, and it's a wonderful way of saying the right thing to encourage all of us. I'm sure all of us have experienced that. I am losing my train of thought here, so I think I better bring it to an end. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. And I recall not long after you joined the Camera Club, you bring a spectacular nighttime in the Italian village to a competition and then to one of our exhibits in the church. Yes, thank you so much.
I met Frank at my daughter's wedding, and he did that. All right. And so he did that as a special favor. Said that the benefit of the club is that you got a lot of it. So I got through that. I thought it was a great thing. With that, this guy had critiqued it. This is like a snapshot. Well, I just died. And the reason he called it a snapshot is that 50 other people took that shot at me. And I said to myself, Moses, I had to walk a long distance around the lake. Then I had to go down a steep bank, and no one's foolish enough to do that. So I was the only one that took that shot. And I loved it. And every element that he told me, I was dead. So he turned around and did that same thing to Jim Hendricks. So Jim and I got together and we said, you know what we need to do is add a competition category called snapshots. That was Frank that got me out of my way. Tripod, lamp. And so he had this anyway, it was a beautiful tripod at the price. I paid 600 for it. Right. So that thing was moved off. And I took all of his workshops. So the reason I'm a photographer today, and I think that's true for both of them. Go to the library, to the memorial, Mormon Walk, and Frank is the backbone of the education. And of course, well, too much work is not the like Frank established. In spite of your platform, now everybody's talking. Thank you, John. Thank you.
I'm Dave Moore, and I've known Frank for a very long time, before either one of us were here. I was the operations officer of the photo squadron at Vandenberg Air Force Base, and we went to a photographic conference in the East Coast. And one of the highlights of the conference was Frank, who's running the lab at Anacostia, Maryland, and took us on a tour of this fantastic lab. So subsequently, I got transferred to Norton Air Force Base, and shortly after I joined the camera club, I was pretty active in it for some time, sort of drifted away and drifted back. So here we all are, and I've been to at least 3 or more Frank's seminars, and took his advice on tripods. I got a tripod that when it's fully extended, I can walk under it. It's 7 feet tall. And Frank, though we never tried it, could sit on it and it wouldn't buckle. So I've learned an awful lot from you, Frank, and I really appreciate all your instruction, the counsel, and so forth. And it's been a joy knowing you. I wish you the best for it today and something supposed to be done for. It's a keep on it. Yeah. Right. Doing it.
Together, but he did 30 and I did 3. But we were in at the same time.
We were on different ships together.
We were on different ships. We were on different ships together. And so we get together, like to get together at particularly the veterans luncheons and dinners and swap sea stories. But I've learned a tremendous amount, as you've all indicated, that you have learned about just every aspect of photography that I can apply today. So I just want to thank you for not only your teachings and your mentorship, but for being my shipmate friend. And we refer to each other as shipmates, even though we weren't on the same ship at the same time.
But we were steaming off the coast of Vietnam at the same time. I was navigating photo reconnaissance jets off of an aircraft carrier, and Nick was in one of the accompanying small boys. Nick was what we lovingly refer to in the Navy as a skivvy waver, also known as a signalman. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks for that, Frank.
Now, Nick and I have something else in common. We both had specialties in the Navy that no longer exist. There are no more Navy photographers, and there are no more Navy signalmen. They have been folded into other specialties.
All right, for those of you on Zoom, we've got a few more minutes. We want to give you an opportunity, but again, keep it frank. You can't sit down, but
Frank, I want to thank you very much for all the service that you've provided for us, not only for Redlands Camera Club, but also for IEPPV and for PPC. You've been excellent example of people who are willing to dedicate their time to help the organizations special for photography here today. If it was not for the encouragement and the challenges that you always provided for me. So thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. It's very heartwarming to see someone come into the Redlands Camera Club, increase their skill and knowledge the way you have. The man is a world-class bird photographer, among other things. He also has served as the president of the Redlands Camera Club and as president of IEPPV. And he's now active in the American Society of Photographers, doing great things there. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Hey, Frank, this is Joe Sutcliffe.
Joe.
I just wanted to wish you well, and I've known you for a long time. And thank you for all that you've taught me, and I learned a lot from you. And thank you for all the times that you let me help you with classes and keep things moving for you. I always enjoyed that. It was always fun.
What Joe says when he admits that he helped with the classes doesn't begin to cover the waterfront. Joe was amazing in supporting, in particular, the digital classes, organizing the image showing and critiques that we would do, keeping records. Joe was, well, he was always there, and the classes always benefited. Everybody in here who's taken any of the classes can vouch for that. Thank you so much, Joe, and we hope that in your retirement we'll see more of you.
Yeah, well, I was going to come down this evening, but the weather's not too good, and there's just a lot of issues with traffic and driving through the Cajon Pass that I don't want to deal with. So had to do it for 25 years, and don't look forward to doing it anymore.
Understand that and look forward to seeing you when we can.
So is your email address still going to stay the same when you move?
Don't know yet.
All right. Well, if you get a new one, be sure and send it out.
Okay, I won't hide.
Bob, I know you've been waiting.
I have been patiently waiting.
Thank you.
And trying to put together the words that will convey what I know of Frank. By the way, my name's Bob Fletcher. I have known Frank for a long time. I believe he used to have hair back then when I first met him. So that was a very long time ago. And I'm not sure how many years, but a long time. We have ridden together to workshops a number of times. If you've ever ridden in Frank's van with him, going across the desert at 80 miles an hour, as he comes up to a curve that says 45 miles an hour, and he decides to accelerate through it, you're desperately hanging on to the door as he's conveying a World War II story to you. And we have shared many, many times together that I have looked forward to. Every time I spend time with Frank, I learn something. I hear wonderful experiences that he has had and shared over the years. And one of the things that I observed with Frank, besides his love of photography, there are two other great loves in his life. One of them is the U.S. Navy, and the other is this beautiful young lady sitting back against the wall. Her name is Sue. And he would always speak about Sue with the greatest and deepest love I think I've ever seen. How their adventures together, their times together, their sacrifices together, being with their family and all of those things. And I have always looked forward to spending time with Frank. Frank, thank you for what you've taught me and what you shared with me. And we will miss you, but hopefully we'll see you occasionally. Thank you.
Bob, thank you so much. Your words mean a great deal, more than I can convey. Anyone who has not taken a workshop with Bob Fletcher, I want to tell you one experience that illustrated to me as much as any single thing could, the value of a workshop with Bob. And how many of you have taken Bob's workshops? Can you see all those hands, Bob?
I can't. I'm seeing you, but
Okay, well,
I imagine there's a few.
Bob and I were in Bodie together. He was teaching a workshop and I was assisting him. And we were photographing around the buildings that are pretty well preserved, relatively speaking. And Bob at one point looked at his watch and he said, okay, gang, in about 15 minutes, the sun is going to be just right inside the window of the undertaker. So we all walked over there. And about the time we got there, the sun was shining just right through the window of the undertaker's parlor. Now that's knowledge of your subject in depth. I thought I had been to Bodie until I went to Bodie with Bob Fletcher. And I know from other experiences and from talking with other people that that's just the way Bob does things. He does it right. You could not ask for a better workshop than a Bob Fletcher workshop. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Frank.
Dave Fickey, I know you've been waiting.
Now that I'm unmuted, okay. I remember coming from down the mountain here to a Redlands Camera Club meeting, and it was a members' night. And Frank was overseeing members' night and talking about various images. And the way he expressed and critiqued the images was something that I had never experienced before from being up here on the mountain with our little club. And I said to myself that this is something that I could really get into. Since then, I've taken a number of Frank's classes. I remember going to Joshua Tree, where he made it very clear that you need, and the Choya Garden, that we needed to take pliers. And sure enough, somebody always runs into the Choya, or maybe the jumping Choya jumps onto somebody, but regardless, pliers were needed. Remember taking his class at Redlands, the college, whatever, I forget that class. Anyway,
University of Redlands, yes.
Yeah, University of Redlands. Had a great time there. And it was just marvelous. Frank, I'm going to miss you. You're a pillar of the club. You have such a background and experience that is just no one can match. And I'm personally going to miss you. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. And thank you for your service to the club as president. We hope that you're able to get back down the mountain more often.
I am looking forward to that, but 43 degrees outside, rain, fog. I was planning on going down tonight, but no, like Rick, nope, or Joe, I mean, nope, not going to do it.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, though.
Thank you so much.
Good. We got time for just a few more online there. If you want to just unmute yourself and start. And you've already said something. Anybody going once? Going twice? Okay, Russ, you had something to say.
Wait a minute. I believe that Jim has told me that Frank is writing 2 books.
Yeah.
Is that true, Jim?
Dave, you're jumping the gun.
Okay.
Stephanie, you had something you wanted to share with Frank. You brought an item this evening.
When I was researching that they have the Kodak Eastman museum there.
Yes.
And so I walked over there and it turned out to be the manufacturer, but that was okay. A couple blocks away. So I went to the museum and I thought it'd be.
Well, thank you so much. That's George Eastman House. And
Yes,
it's a
yes,
wonderful
yes.
place.
It's his house, you know, it's his home and his gardens. I try to get we could match, but and just in case you don't know anything about photography, which I'm sure you do, here's a deck of playing cards, and each card says something different about George Eastman.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You must have had insight into how much our family loved playing cards.
I didn't,
Well,
but yeah, yeah. And then that way also, you know, you can have trivia night.
Yes. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Steph.
Thank you.
So anyway, Frank, we tried to have everybody this evening, but by the way, I don't view you as sailing off into the sunset because we have Zoom and we have in-person Zoom meetings. We figured you're still going to be a vital part of this club, even when you're down in San Diego. Anyway, this evening, I wanted to present this card to you, show the folks at home, everybody that signed it. I hope everybody can hear me there. Again, one of your wonderful pictures I put on the card today, and with everybody signing it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
I just wish we could have got everybody on Zoom to sign it too. And then I had a little thing we made from the club for you. Oh, that worked even, yeah. I'm not good at wrapping presents, but maybe we should make you wait till Christmas.
Good luck with that.
Oh, just rip the paper off. My mother used to save the paper and use it next Christmas.
The tape monster has done it work.
If it were a fish, it'd stink right now. Yeah. Use this key to break it.
Thank you.
Now, this came all the way from New York City too, by the
Oh
way,
my goodness.
except I did it online.
It's an apple.
Um, it'd be brown by now if that were the case. It just kind of wanted to let you know how much we, the members of the Redlands Camera Club, appreciate you, and a way of saying thank you with a lot of people's pictures on them.
How about that?
How about that?
And those pictures happen to be camera club people.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
I'm just sorry I didn't get everybody in there. So
I would like to pass this around, but don't drop it. Woe be unto anyone who drops it. Thank you so much. Brad.
well, I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm not done yet. So another thing, it's a way of expressing my gratitude every year for all the wonderful things that you shared with us with regard to photography over the years. Now, my wildest dream, getting. I hope so. It's supposed to be. Anyway, the comment I wanted to make was you've told us to invest our money into really good tripods. We've already talked about that this evening. The other thing you've told us to do is to buy really good lenses. The cameras cycle in and out. The only thing I wished I would have had was all this advice almost 20 years ago when I first got into digital. You would have saved me a bunch of money. But I am glad for the pictures I'm able to take, and I appreciate all that you've shared with the club and all that you taught me too. And I just wanted to say thank you. By the way, my name is Russ Sarah. I am president of the club, and I have forgotten how long I've been a member of the club, but it was way back when Woody used to do the competitions, and he sucked me into doing that. I think I did that for about 10 years. So, but I've forgotten how long I've been with the club. But I know it hasn't been as long as some of the other members that are here. In fact, Jerry Reese, I know, has been there longer than I have.
your level of service is unexceeded by any. And in fact, here's the guy who kept this club together through the pandemic, through the club's undoubtedly most difficult time in history. Thank you, Les.
I do want to say something about all the members of the club. This club would not function without all the help that we get from everybody. And I am grateful for all that everybody does and the wealth of knowledge that people share. I think this is one of the things that brought me into this club was the willingness of members to sit there and share their knowledge of photography with others and help them become better photographers, even if they didn't want to.
Thank you.
Oh, we have one other thing. Jim Hendon wanted to make a presentation.
Yes, I've asked Jim.
So I hope so. Yeah. So many people have said the right things already. I don't want to repeat again and again. I'm thankful to Frank for so many things, but I just want to say in particular, I'm grateful for his attitude. Frank, from the first time I encountered him 8 years ago when I came to the club, he greeted me as a new member. You know, I was kind of ignored otherwise. There wasn't, any onboarding for new members. And Frank came up, called me by name, and greeted me at the workshops. Frank has always been about fun. He's always encouraged us to see photography as fun. He's encouraged us to see improving our photography. Struggling to improve our photography is fun, right, Frank? And competing is fun, and getting judged and getting a score and seeing what that feels like is fun. And he's right. He's right, because photography is a gift. Frank has always made us feel that way. I'm grateful to him for that. I'm grateful also to Frank for his high standards. When I first came to the club, as I said, he greeted me and showed how to onboard a member, how to make people feel welcome. I'm grateful for his speaker skills. I remember sitting there and watching Frank introduce a speaker without notes, go through the biography and talk about this person. And I thought to myself, well, that's class. That's the right way to do it, because it made that speaker feel appreciated and welcome. And I tried to emulate Frank. I had to use notes myself, but I'm just grateful to Frank for his high standards in so many ways, and he just demonstrated them. Even though he's leaving us, Frank has been busy. He's had some health issues. We've been busy getting ready to go to San Diego, but most of us don't realize that he's also been working on a couple of books. So even though he's going to be gone, he will leave behind these volumes of his wisdom. Bruce, what was the first one? Yes. Frank has written The Joy of JPEGs. He finally came around to understanding that nobody but a camera manufacturer has a better idea what we should be doing with our pictures than the manufacturers. So just get yourself a copy of Frank's book. Lean back, relax, let the camera handle it, and you too can experience the joy of JPEGs. But he didn't stop there. Frank took time to do another volume. One of the single most challenging photographic adventures you can have is to take a basket of kittens, try to get them together. There's a series of tricks that Frank was sharing with us there, and as to how to handle little guys. But if you ever want to know how to master kittens in baskets, Frank's book will be available at a discount to Redlands Camera Club members. So thank you for those two volumes, Frank. And on behalf of the club, I'd like to present this gift to you, Frank. Oh my goodness, thank you. Some of you know the story behind the kittens, some of you don't. I'd love to share that with you if there's time. Dave? First night wins. Thank you. I'm remembering the scoutmaster who has this wrestling cut off his hands, so almost cut away from himself. Yes, oh my goodness. Oh, look at that. Thank you so much. I am really touched.
It's a group photo. So group photo. So that means you there are going to come up this way. So Sue, would you be able to join us up here? And we'll gather around Frank and Sue. We'll scooch you over here in the middle. All right. What I have found in terms of gathering photos from the club